Imagine if the largest shark to ever exist, the Megalodon, wasn't just a relic of the past, but a predator that continued to evolve for millions of years. What would it look like today? Could it still dominate the oceans? And most importantly, could it threaten us? In today's video, we're diving deep into an alternate reality where the Megalodon never went extinct. From its terrifying adaptations to its potential role in modern ecosystems, we'll uncover what life might look like with a 60-foot super predator still lurking in our seas. To fully explore this mind-boggling scenario, we must first take a look at the Megalodon's past. The Megalodon roamed the oceans from about 23 million years ago to approximately 3.6 million years ago, during the Cenozoic era. At its peak, it could grow to lengths of up to 60 feet, roughly 3 times the size of the largest great white sharks today. Its teeth alone were over 7 inches long, built for crushing bones and slicing through flesh with brutal efficiency. It's estimated that its bite force could reach up to 18,000 pounds, more powerful than any animal in history. Megalodons were believed to have gone extinct at the end of the Pliocene epoch, primarily due to changes in climate and ocean temperatures, as well as a decline in their food sources. The giant sharks preyed upon whales and other marine mammals, but as the climate cooled, the waters began to shift, affecting the availability of these prey species. Competition with other predators like killer whales also played a role in their extinction. However, what if the Megalodon had found a way to adapt instead of perishing? What if it never stopped evolving? First, we have to consider the world today. The oceans have changed dramatically since the time of the Megalodon. The current oceans are home to a variety of different apex predators, including great white sharks, orcas, and massive whale species. But the Megalodon was not just any apex predator, it was the apex predator. Its size alone would give it an incredible advantage over any modern-day competitor, and its ability to hunt large prey would be unmatched. If the Megalodon had continued to evolve, it would have had to adapt to the changing environments of the oceans. For instance, as sea levels fluctuated, the shark's range of movement could have expanded or contracted, forcing it to adapt to new ocean conditions. This means that the Megalodon would have had to adjust not only its behavior and hunting patterns but also its physiology to suit the evolving conditions of the oceans. Let's think about how the Megalodon might have evolved over the millions of years since its supposed extinction. One of the most likely possibilities is that the Megalodon would have undergone further specialization in its feeding habits. The modern oceans are rich with diverse prey species, but the Megalodon's primary food source, whales, has evolved too. Today's oceans are full of fast-moving, agile marine creatures. Modern whales and dolphins are more difficult to catch than the creatures the Megalodon might have encountered in its prime. However, the Megalodon's size and power would likely have given it an edge in taking down these elusive creatures. In order to keep up with the speed of modern marine animals, the Megalodon might have evolved to become a more efficient hunter. Perhaps it would develop faster swimming speeds, enhanced senses, or specialized hunting techniques to track and catch prey. Given that the Megalodon already had powerful jaws and an impressive bite force, it's conceivable that its evolution would include improvements in its sensory systems, especially its vision and electroreception abilities. The shark's ability to detect prey by sensing electrical impulses from its movements would make it a much more effective predator, capable of finding and attacking animals from much greater distances. The idea of a super predator adapting to survive in a rapidly changing environment is nothing new in the animal kingdom. Look at the great white shark, for example. Though they may not be the size of the Megalodon, they've survived for millions of years by adapting to new environments and food sources. If the Megalodon had adapted in a similar manner, it could have developed better tools to hunt and survive in a world full of obstacles. Would the Megalodon evolve into an even larger predator, capable of chasing down prey that modern sharks can't even dream of catching? Perhaps it would become even more terrifying, its size dwarfing that of the great white. Imagine a shark, not just 60 feet long, but 70 or 80 feet, lurking in the depths of the oceans. It could grow even larger by exploiting every available food source, and as the oceans evolved, so too would this prehistoric predator. The immense size would come with a set of benefits, but it would also require the Megalodon to be more efficient in its movements. If the environment provided ample prey, it could afford to grow larger, but it would need to develop specialized skills to avoid competition with other apex predators in the food chain. The great white shark, currently one of the ocean's top predators, might not stand a chance against such an evolved megalodon. Imagine a world where the megalodon and the great white share the same ocean. The megalodon's size and strength would allow it to dominate the waters, while its hunting prowess would keep it at the top of the food chain. In a way, the megalodon would continue to control the oceans, keeping all competitors at bay. One major factor that could come into play would be the megalodon's role in the ecosystem. As one of the most powerful predators to ever live, the megalodon would have a significant impact on the delicate balance of the ocean's food web. It could force other apex predators to adapt as well, perhaps even changing the behavior of other species. The orca, often considered a rival predator of sharks, would certainly have to evolve to deal with this monstrous foe. Would orcas become more intelligent and develop new strategies to hunt in the presence of a megalodon? Would they form alliances with other marine animals to take down this enormous threat? In the modern world, sharks are essential for maintaining the health of the oceans. They help regulate populations of other marine creatures, keeping the ecosystem balanced. But with a megalodon still out there, this balance would be dramatically altered. Its hunting habits could decimate entire populations of prey species, forcing other creatures to adapt or face extinction. The consequences of such a massive predator's existence would ripple through the entire marine ecosystem. But what about the human element? In a world where the megalodon never stopped evolving, it's conceivable that humans would be more aware of its existence. The megalodon's presence would be difficult to ignore, and we would likely have discovered evidence of it long before now. We could be living in an era where these ancient predators are still roaming the seas. Could modern humans survive alongside a living megalodon? It would require advancements in technology, as well as an understanding of the predator's behavior, to avoid becoming its next meal. Marine biology would become an entirely different field of study, focused on understanding the evolution of the megalodon and how to coexist with it in a world where it never went extinct. The ocean's depths would be far more dangerous, and ocean exploration would require new tools and techniques to ensure human safety. As humanity expands its reach into the oceans, we might find ourselves facing a very real megalodon, one that has adapted to modern times and evolved in ways that we cannot fully predict. Would we have the technological means to contain it, or would we be forever at the mercy of a predator far larger and more powerful than any shark we know today? The megalodon's reemergence into the modern world would be a terrifying, awe-inspiring event, one that would change the way we understand the oceans and the creatures that inhabit them. Would this ancient shark's reign continue for millions of years into the future? Or would it, like so many of its predecessors, eventually face its own evolutionary dead end, unable to keep up with the ever-changing conditions of the Earth? If the megalodon were to keep evolving, we might not only face a larger, faster, and more powerful predator, but one that has adapted to the changing dynamics of the oceans. The ancient oceans were vastly different from today's seas, but the evolution of the megalodon could have been influenced by a variety of factors. Climate change, food availability, and the presence of new competitors and threats would shape its evolution. As the climate shifted, the oceans would have become progressively more stratified, with different layers offering different types of nutrients. The deeper layers of the ocean, where light struggles to penetrate, may have been a sanctuary for an evolved megalodon. Over time, it might develop more sophisticated sensory systems to navigate the dark depths, something beyond the electroreception it once relied on. Its ability to detect even the smallest electrical signals from marine life could evolve into a far more powerful and accurate system, possibly allowing it to target prey in complete darkness. While modern sharks are already excellent hunters in deep waters, the megalodon would have evolved even further to survive at those depths, becoming one of the ocean's most efficient nocturnal hunters. Think of it as a creature with superhuman-like abilities, able to stalk its prey from miles away, reading even the faintest signals of life deep in the water, and traveling faster than any other creature in the ocean. The megalodon's potential evolution might also include advanced hunting strategies. Its behavior could evolve to mimic that of modern predators like orcas, which often use complex teamwork to hunt large prey. A group of megalodons could form a cooperative hunting strategy, where smaller sharks work together to chase down prey, cornering it for a larger individual to attack. This team-based hunting model, which is observed in some species today, could give the megalodon an even more lethal edge. If the megalodon continued to evolve, so too would its prey. The modern oceans are teeming with giant marine life, including whales, seals, and massive squid. As the megalodon adapted to its environment, it would need to adjust to the changing characteristics of its prey. With the increase in the size and intelligence of marine mammals, megalodons might have had to develop new techniques to catch these swift animals. For example, instead of relying solely on brute force, the megalodon might evolve a more sophisticated hunting style. It might start targeting weaker members of prey species, such as sick, old, or injured animals. This is something modern predators like great white sharks already do, but the megalodon would have taken it to an extreme, seeking out the most vulnerable members of whale pods, large fish schools, and other marine populations. Perhaps the megalodon would also evolve new ways of exploiting the underwater food chain. In addition to its usual whale prey, it might have started feeding on different types of marine life, such as giant squid, massive schools of fish, or even other predators. It could have become an omnivorous creature, capable of eating anything that comes its way. This adaptability would allow it to survive in a wide range of environments, from the deepest trenches of the ocean to the warm, shallow waters where prey may be more abundant. One of the defining features of the megalodon was its sheer size, and this would likely be a factor that continued to evolve. As the ocean's prey evolved to become larger and more powerful, the megalodon would need to keep pace. The theory that megalodons could grow even larger than the 60 feet they reached in prehistoric times is certainly plausible. With ample food supply and evolutionary pressures, a megalodon could easily have reached lengths of 70 feet or more, making it an even more imposing figure in the oceans. This increase in size would give the megalodon a few advantages, most notably its ability to tackle larger prey. The deeper and more dangerous parts of the ocean could offer ample hunting grounds for a larger, more powerful predator. However, being larger could also present challenges. The larger the shark, the more energy it needs to sustain itself. So, while a larger megalodon might be able to take on larger prey, it would also have to be more efficient in its hunting strategies to avoid burning through too much energy. Would the megalodon become a more efficient predator as it grew larger, or would it reach a point where its size became a disadvantage? This question speaks to the heart of evolutionary biology, where there is always a delicate balance between the benefits and the costs of specific traits. Even a giant like the megalodon would have had to evolve in ways that ensured its survival. The oceans today are not empty. There are plenty of large, powerful predators already making their mark. The great white shark, orca, and even massive blue whales all dominate the waters. If the megalodon were still around today, it would need to contend with these species, and competition would drive further evolution. The megalodon's main competition could be the orca, a killer whale known for its intelligence, social structure, and hunting prowess. Orcas often hunt in packs and are known to target large animals, including sharks. A lone megalodon might find itself under attack by a group of orcas, forcing it to evolve smarter hunting strategies. Maybe it would become more solitary, stealthy, and elusive, avoiding encounters with potential rivals. Or perhaps it would have evolved a more aggressive nature, willing to take on even groups of orcas head-on in an all-out battle for dominance. In the face of such competition, the megalodon's evolution could take a fascinating turn. It could develop new ways of avoiding rival predators, changing its hunting patterns, or shifting to different prey sources that don't compete with orcas or other sharks. Alternatively, the megalodon could evolve its social behavior, learning to hunt in coordinated groups to take down larger animals together, becoming more social and intelligent, just like the orcas. The reappearance of a megalodon would have a profound impact on marine ecosystems. As a top predator, the megalodon would play a significant role in shaping the population dynamics of the ocean. Its presence would affect the entire food web, from plankton to the largest whales. Its influence would ripple through every level of the ecosystem. For example, the megalodon's preference for large prey would likely cause shifts in whale populations. The presence of this apex predator could force whales to adapt to new behaviors, perhaps even forcing some species to migrate to safer waters to avoid being targeted. The impact would be similar to what we see with the great white shark, which has caused marine life to adapt in specific ways over millennia. Additionally, the megalodon's survival would put pressure on smaller predators, like sharks and other marine mammals. It would force them to find niches where they could avoid the giant predator, leading to the evolution of even more specialized creatures. Smaller sharks might adapt by hunting smaller prey or avoiding areas where megalodons are most active. In the case of orcas, their intelligence would allow them to adapt to the presence of a megalodon, but only through increased cooperation and social strategies. New hierarchies might emerge in the oceans, with smaller species aligning themselves with larger predators or forming coalitions to fend off the megalodon. If the megalodon never stopped evolving, the oceans of today would be a much more dangerous and awe-inspiring place. Giant predators lurking in the depths, hunting in packs, and constantly evolving to meet the demands of their environment would change the face of marine biology. Humanity would face new challenges when navigating the seas, perhaps even requiring advancements in technology to protect ships, submarines, and even coastal cities from the presence of such a massive predator. Perhaps, in a world where the megalodon survived and continued to evolve, we would need to reframe our understanding of marine ecosystems. We'd have to acknowledge the terrifying possibility that such a predator still roams the ocean depths, an unstoppable force of nature, just waiting for the right moment to surface. To conclude, if the megalodon never stopped evolving, it would be one of the most significant forces in the ocean today. A super predator, continually adapting to a changing world, capable of altering marine ecosystems and influencing the survival of countless species. The very idea that a creature of such scale and power could exist in our oceans today is both terrifying and awe-inspiring. It would not just change the ocean's hierarchy but would force us to reconsider everything we know about the world's largest and most dangerous predators. And who knows, perhaps one day, if we dive deep enough, we may discover that the megalodon is not just a relic of the past, but a living, breathing monster that continues to evolve in ways we never imagined.